Hello, Brian Blakemore with DeQuatchie Motorsports. Welcome to this episode of Racetruck Diaries, episode 17. We are here in Jeremy's shop, and we did a little bit of work on the race truck. Jeremy got our new numbers put on all around. Thanks to him for that. They're on the doors and the front headlight holes and on the roof, and then we've got one facing the back as well. Yeah, I broke my really expensive part. I hope it still works. So this is the gear shift indicator and trans temperature sensor, trans temp gauge. So this will display what gear I'm in, and it will display the transmission temperature on it as well. I've plugged it in, but it wasn't programmed, and it seems to still function even with this little crack in it. So I hope that it is okay. Otherwise, I gotta overnight another one and spend more money, which I'm tired of doing. But I need that information. So we'll see what happens with this. So I had to rewire the CAN bus wiring. I had to move the resistors to the outside of the CAN bus circuit and wire everything that's attached to it on the inside of the resistors, like I showed in the diagram in yesterday's episode or the day before's episode. I've got some pictures of that, so I'll post them in the video now. The gauge is going to go here. There's a spot where I removed the gauge that we normally use for differential temperature. I don't have a differential temperature sensor, so that spot has never worked. So I pulled that gauge out, and the bezel fits perfectly right in there, and then this fits, I'm not gonna say perfectly, but this fits inside that bezel. So hopefully I can get this repaired or do whatever I need to do and stick it in there. It will be a little difficult for me to see. The screen is kind of small, but I should be able to see enough while I'm driving, and then of course my navigator can see it and read off temperatures if I need that. But the main function of this is to make sure that I know what gear I'm in, so I don't have to always remember my shifting and or compare speed versus RPM to figure out what gear I'm in, which I'm gonna make a chart for 2000 RPMs and align that with speed versus gear so that I know at 2000 RPMs what the speed is, what gear I'm in. That way I can keep that information in my brain. Cutting the CAN bus apart sucked, but we got it done. Everything's moved. And if you come this way, I'll show you the passenger door. So, as some of you know, I like to put other people into my passenger seat, my navigator seat, that don't normally race or aren't normally involved in those things or have a strong social media presence and whatnot, and give them the opportunity to be a part of this team. This year, as I mentioned before, a couple posts earlier, we have Ian Johnson from Extreme 4x4, Big Tire Garage, and all those off-road programs. You might have recognized him in your childhood watching those shows growing up like I did. So it's super cool that he's going to be a part of the team. I'm glad to have him. He'll be joining us in Vegas on the 14th, and then we'll see how well that hair stands up after being in a helmet for 20 hours. So it ought to be a good time. He'll be real familiar with the type of racing that we're doing and with the vehicle itself, you know, four-wheel drive, off-road, and all that kind of stuff. So he should have a good time in the truck. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see, what else? Oh, did you see there's Jeremy, wave Jeremy. Oh, you got it, you got the H. Was it on this? Oh no, it's on the chase truck. It's on the chase truck, yeah. Cool, I've got to pick out all my decals for my partners. We're gonna start thinning those out in the future. I'm gonna make one of these Racetruck Diaries posts about sponsorships and partnerships, and kind of explain how I approach that subject and how I try to get partners involved in the truck, and what I do to recognize them as we're racing. Next year, we're gonna be a little more stringent on our rules for the race program and what we're advertising for, because it takes work to put into that. And if there's not anything being received on the other side, then you know, that's not a fair balance there. So I'll talk about that in another video. We'll do one specifically for that. It might help some of you guys that are starting out in your race programs as well. Other than that, that's it. I got to go back to work, and I'll be back in town Monday, hopefully to fix this and test it and program it and put some more miles on the truck, I hope, and then back to work again. And then a week later, we are on our way to Vegas. So it's almost time. We've got about a week and 3 days left, roughly, before we make our way out to Vegas. Jeremy will be pulling a trailer with the Dutch truck on it, and he'll be their primary chase truck, so we'll load him full of fuel and parts and tires and all that stuff. That's not the truck that he's going to use behind him, although it's got a current. It would be rad. But yeah, again, all Rams, all Dodges. That's all we run in our pits, and nothing else is allowed. So it ought to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. We've got a good crew, and yeah, we'll keep these videos coming. Thanks for watching.